Hey guys, how's it going? We're back with another Battlefield Portal tutorial video, and in this tutorial we'll be going over how you can add some custom interact points to your maps. So you can add things like an ammo replenishment station, a COD Zombies-style Mystery Box, or even a switch to toggle friendly fire on or off. And before we start adding any interact points in the Godot engine, I'm going to explain this TypeScript file to you guys. It's a very simple script I created, and essentially all it does is it triggers code whenever you interact with an interact point. This is not meant to be a coding tutorial, but I'm going to explain this so if you don't have any coding experience, you should still be able to figure it out. So essentially, if you look up here at the top, you'll see this line. It's basically declaring a constant or a variable with an ID. And essentially, you're going to want this number. So right now I have 1. You're going to want this number to line up with the ID of the interact point you added in the Godot engine whenever you're creating your custom map. And then essentially right here, this function onPlayer interact, this essentially fires whenever a player interacts with an interact point. So onPlayer interact, and then it takes in the player who interacted with it and which interact point they've interacted with. And then right here, this is just getting basically the ID of the interact point that has been interacted with. And if that ID is equal to your custom interact point, then it's going to run some custom code. And essentially, I just have this set up so whenever a player interacts with this ID, it fills their ammo. So as you can see, we're over in the Godot engine now, and essentially for this tutorial, I'm going to set it up so we have this right here, and this is going to refill our ammo. This box right here is going to give us a random weapon, kind of like COD Zombies would. And then this little button on the wall is going to trigger friendly fire on or off. It's not too difficult to set up in Godot. All you have to do is basically set up your map how you want it. And then down here, you're going to want to make sure you search in here for an interact point. And as you can see, it's right there. If you drag it in, you have an interact point. And then if you look over here in the inspector tree, it has an object ID. So we're going to make it so this is 1. So this is going to be the object ID of the interact point that gives us full ammo. It replenishes our ammo. And then you want to drag it so the interact point is where you want it to be. So I want it to be inside of this little crate. So I'm going to drag it, and essentially the part that has like the hold X or whatever button you're using to interact is right in the middle of this. So we're going to drag that so it's in here just like that, and I think that's a perfect spot. And then we're going to want to drag in another one, and this is going to be for our mystery box. That's going to give us a random weapon. We're going to drag it to a nice spot, nothing too crazy, just drag it right in there. We're going to set the object ID of this one to 2. And then we're going to go over to our button on the wall here, and we're going to drag in another interact point. We're going to line this up so it's right on the button. And right there should be good. And we're going to set the ID of this to 3. And that's essentially the entire setup that you have to do in Godot. It's very simple in Godot. It's just you have to create the TypeScript files. So we have those 3 different interact points, interact ID 1, 2, and 3. So now I'm going to go over to the script, and we're going to add all the code to make all 3 of these work. Okay, so we're back over in my code editor, and I have made all of the necessary changes to make all 3 interact points do what they're intended to do. Like I said before, this isn't a coding tutorial, so I will quickly go over all the changes I've made. And you should just be able to copy this script and get an idea of what you need to do. If it's very confusing, you could ask questions there in the comments, and I'll definitely get back to you and help you out. And also, you could paste this into ChatGPT, and it should also be able to help you out. So essentially, all I did was I added 3 different variables at the top here with IDs lining up to the 3 interact points I added in the Godot engine. And then right below that, I just added a list of different weapons that could be given to a player when they interact with the mystery box. Then I also added a Boolean flag here to track whether friendly fire is on or off. And then right down here, I already explained this to you guys before, on player interact. This basically fires when a player interacts with an interact point, and we get the ID of the interact point that has been interacted with. And then right below this is where the bulk of the code changes were. I added a switch statement, and essentially all it does is it looks at the interact point ID that we're interacting with, and based on that ID, it runs certain blocks of code. So it looks at it and says, if it's the ammo refill ID, refill the player's ammo. If it's the mystery box ID, then give the player a random weapon. If it's the friendly fire ID, then toggle the friendly fire mode. It's not too difficult. Yeah, if you look, this is the code that refills the player ammo, and then this is the code that gives the player a random weapon. It basically generates a random number and chooses a random gun from this weapon list, and then it removes the player's gun and adds the new gun. And then whenever it's the friendly fire code, this one's actually very simple. You just do .set friendly fire, and if you want it on or off. So if you interact with it once, it will turn friendly fire on, and you can shoot your teammates. If you toggle it again, then it will turn it off, so you can toggle it back and forth. But yeah, that's essentially the script. It's nothing too crazy. Like I said, if you have any questions on how to do certain things, you can drop comments below, and I'll do my best to help you. But I'm going to plug this all into Battlefield Portal now, and we're going to go show a working example of all of this code. So, as you can see, we're on the Battlefield Portal website. We're in the process of making a new Battlefield Portal experience. I'm in the map rotation, and we're going to add our exported spatial JSON data from Godot. We were using Aftermath or Empire State, so we're going to upload that spatial file. And then we're basically going to skip everything else, go down to the rules editor, go into scripts, and do generate new, or we're just going to, sorry, it will be create new script file. You click create new script file, and then you can paste in the script file I provided. I'll have that down in the description for you guys to copy and paste. We're going to paste that in there. We're going to hit publish. We're going to call it just interact points, and we're going to hit publish. Now we're going to hop over on my Xbox, and I'll show you guys this working. So we're back over on my Xbox now, and as you can see, we're in the custom map. We're going to test out the first interact point. I'm just going to shoot some of my ammo, and then whenever I interact with it, you can see that it refills my ammo. Nice. And then we're going to go over to the mystery box, and whenever we interact with this, it's just going to give us a random gun that was in that list of weapons. As you can see, it swapped to the MP5, and then we swapped again. Just keeps giving us random weapons, so that works as intended also. So that's pretty cool. And now we're going to go over to the toggle friendly fire point. So as you can see, if I try and shoot my friend here, it does no damage to him, right? No damage. And then we're going to toggle it. We're going to toggle it, and then if we shoot him, it does damage. You can see his health going down. And then if we want, we can go back and toggle it back off, and we can shoot him again. So yeah, it works just as intended. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.